And a good spiritual morning to you once again. Thanks for joining us today for a quick chat. And of course, our morning cup of coffee.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me back. I thought I would sneak in and spend some time with my husband today. And
special guest. I have a special guest visitor.
Yeah, not so special, but a visitor.
So
where are we at?
We're getting ready for Lent, believe it or not. It's right around the corner. And so we thought we would talk about meat fare a little bit. That was this past Sunday, Judgment Sunday.
A lot of people don't pay attention to that.
I know. And people like meat fare and cheese fare and what's this all about? What's going on?
Yeah, when we were young, it was a time to empty out the freezer of all your meat. You had a lot of meat that week because then you weren't buying it for 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
I don't think people do that anymore.
No, we don't do that anymore. Well, I don't know. Probably not. Maybe to some extent.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, so since you brought up the food part of it,
Yeah.
I thought we could talk maybe this time, as we're talking about meat fare, talk a little bit about the fasting portion of it.
Because it's a funny phrase for people who aren't Orthodox or who are becoming Orthodox. Like, what are you talking about? Meat fare.
Right. So meat fare is the last day, right? The last Sunday that we have meat. That's why it's meat fare. And cheese fare is the last day we have cheese, right?
Dairy.
Obviously, dairy, which includes anything to do with dairy and eggs. So milk, butter, cheese, eggs, anything like that.
This is the ideal, just so you all know.
Well, it's not the ideal. I mean, the ideal is a much higher level of fasting. It's supposed to be fundamental and basic to orthodoxy. This is what we're trying to do, right? These are the basic guidelines and the basic rules. So you have Sundays of preparation for Lent. And so it starts with the publican and the Pharisee, right? We talk about humility.
Okay.
And then the prodigal son, we talk about repentance. And then it's Judgment Sunday, which is meat fare. That was this past Sunday. And so we're getting ready now for our fast to start. So we don't Clean Monday comes, the first day of the fast, like, okay, you went from having whatever you want, now you have nothing. It's probably not a very healthy transition. Yeah. So the church is kind of helping us step down our diet a little bit, clean out all the meat. Then you can have cheese and dairy and everything all week. You don't fast from that on Wednesday and Friday. And then you've cleaned out all the cheese. And then Monday comes, Clean Monday comes, and now you're ready to start strict fasting. So it's practical.
It is practical, and I think that we forget to give the church the credit and the wisdom and the respect and the honor of knowing who we are as people and how we're built and what we're made of, and I think of it from a mom's point of view. Like I always laugh when you say to people at the end of church on a Sunday, okay, we're getting ready for the 3 weeks to prepare for Lent. Most people think, well, wait a second. I thought Lent was to prepare for Holy Week, and Holy Week was to prepare for Easter. And I think that
I don't think they know that. I think Lent is to prepare for Easter, but
right. But we don't think we need like a pre-warning and then a warning. And I think about when the kids are little and they're outside and you're like, okay, you need them to come in and they're going to be mad at you because they don't want to change what they're doing. So you say, okay, guys, 15 minutes.
Right.
And you let some time go by, and it could be more than 15 minutes. And then you're like, 10 minutes. And so that when you say it's time to come in, they don't revolt because you've gotten them a little bit ready. So that's my mom part for today.
Right. And the church, the thing is, the church is not coming up with these sort of arbitrary guidelines. It's like, oh, this is the way that you should do it. I don't know, in theory, in some ivory tower. Right. These have developed out of practical use over centuries. This is the best way to do it. This is the way that makes sense. This is the practice of people. So we're talking about fasting now, and we're thinking about Lent. Of course, when we think Lent, the first word that pops into our head is fasting.
Yeah,
right?
Or what am I giving up?
Right. And so we got to talk a little bit about fasting for today for a couple of minutes. That idea of what am I giving up, right? That giving up thing.
It's very American.
It is. There's some good to that, and there's a downside to that.
Okay.
I think we should talk about that. The good side is that Lent should be the fasting. Your fasting should be a sacrifice. That's the whole point of it, that there's some sacrifice, that we're somehow connecting to the sacrifice of Christ through self-denial, that there's some sense of discipline and self-sacrifice and self-denial. So we're giving up things, right? And the idea that there's an emulation of Christ. We're disciplining ourselves. We have some sense of self-control. Right?
Do we? Yeah.
Well, we're trying to build. We don't.
Build it, yeah.
We're trying to build that.
Right.
Right. If you're trying to control yourself when it comes to the more important things, like not judging people, not getting angry with people, having patience, being kind, all the things that we want to do. If you can't control what you're eating, and you have no self-regulation, self-awareness, self-discipline, you have no chance of overcoming all those other sins. So we're starting with the basics. So that's the good part of I'm giving up something for Lent, which is good. It's a self-denial.
And we have to meter ourselves or take a good hard look in the mirror and say, what can I practically try to do? Because you always say, don't set yourself up for failure.
Right. You want to succeed.
But you have to, I mean, it's
But
like,
you should feel it.
yeah. So it's like us, at the beginning of the year, well, I want to get back in shape. Or I want to be healthy. I'm going to go for a walk. I mean, what's a walk? If I'm going to do push-ups or sit-ups, I'm in trouble.
Right now,
So you want to find a challenge, but not what do you want to call it? Setting yourself up for failure. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay.
Something that's too difficult to do.
Well, your wife's back. Sorry.
Right. You notice my train of thought is completely destroyed. We have
keep
no
cutting
idea
it
what
off,
we're
cutting it
doing.
off, yeah.
She's changing the subject. She's cutting me off. Here you go.
Welcome back.
Yes. Welcome back. So here we are.
right.
Yeah, the train of thought I was on was it's good to give up something, but it's also bad in a sense. What's the negative? The downside is I have people saying when I say, "Oh, great, you're fasting for Lent." Yeah, Father, I'm fasting for Lent. I'm not having chocolate. Okay, that's not how we fast for Lent, right? There's supposed to be you're giving up something. Don't say I'm not having Starbucks for Lent, right? That's really we can do a little better than that.
You could give that money to charity, by the way, because it does add up. But I see what you're saying.
Well, I haven't gotten to that point yet. Oh my gosh. No, the point is it's supposed to be self-denial, but there's also the guidelines of the church. You can't just disregard all the 2,000 years of all of that hard work in the laboratory of the spiritual life to create this for us so that we have the blessing and say, no, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm just going to do it my way. I'm going to give up Starbucks. I'm not going to go to Target for Lent and go on my shopping sprees and have my Starbucks in Target. I'm going to give up something. Okay, give up in that there's a self-denial. You still have to fast from meat. You still have to fast from fish. You still have to fast from dairy. You still have to be maintaining the basic fast. Now, if you can't do that for medical reasons, right? There's my disclaimer.
There's your
Not
caveat.
because of laziness, but for medical reasons, you can supplement your fast by saying, well, I can't do as much as I want to do physically, so I'm going to do some other stuff over here to compensate. So I'm giving up some other stuff also. But the point is you should feel it because it can't just be just about the dietary guidelines. Otherwise, I have people who are vegans and vegetarians saying, oh yeah, I'm already doing that. So I'm all set.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything else.
I'm doing that year round.
Yeah.
So I already do that, Father. I'm a vegan. I'm all set. I'm like, no, you're not all set. If you're already doing that, then you're not feeling anything. Then you have to do something more, right? Something on top of that. And you alluded to the heart of the fast is still supposed to be love and mercy. The idea that we're saving resources by not spending the money on food to save that money to go feed people that don't have food, right? As I've said jokingly over and over again, don't warp the fast in a Pharisaical way where you're just worrying about the letter of, right? I'm not going to have the $15 chicken sandwich because I'm fasting. I'm going to have the lobster and spend $45. Technically, you're having shellfish and you're fasting.
Right.
But the idea there is don't do any of that. Take the $15, go buy sandwiches and feed people that are on the street. Give to your local mission or food pantry or something. So fasting should be an act of love. It shouldn't be an act of masochism. It shouldn't be an act of sadness and depression. And when the saints fast, it makes them happy because it's supposed to bring them closer to Christ, whom they love. That's supposed to be the whole point of it.
I think the part about the food or the part about changing what you're doing is important because most of us, and forgive me if I'm, I don't know, overgeneralizing, most of us are on autopilot. We're in survival mode,
all
right?
year, all the time.
Monday morning to Friday afternoon, we're like, okay, how do I survive? Who do I have to take care of? Or what boss do I have to be accountable to? Or what am I eating? And we're on autopilot, which is how we survive our week. Lent, it mixes that up a little bit because it's making us aware that we're in a period of time. It's making us remember Christ more often, but it's hard because all of a sudden you're like, wait, why do I have peanut butter and jelly in my lunch today? Or why aren't I? Oh, I'm doing that for Christ. I'm doing that for God. It's hard to get out of autopilot. And you've also said too, when you make a mistake, like let's say you do really well the first week of Lent and then the next week you mess up or you have something that you have to go to. You don't just say, oh, I messed up. I'm done. I'm out of the game. you just get right back in. But I feel like we need Lent to kind of wake us up a little bit.
Exactly.
From like, you know how you drive home from work and you're like, how did I get home?
You
Somehow
just go.
the car
The
just
car
went.
goes.
That's how our life is. And Lent
Absolutely.
allows us to kind of remember our souls inside.
And the saints know this and knew this. And that's why we have all of the services and the liturgical cycle that we have. Why there are feasts, why there are fasts, to give us a rhythm, but to break us up out of the sort of zombie-like state that we're living in, just kind of going through the motions. Like, oh, something different's happening. Yeah, something different in the life of the church is happening. There's services during the week that you can go to. There's fasting that you're supposed to be doing. So there's an opportunity there. And so we have to take advantage of the opportunity. Remember a couple of basic things. Don't ignore the guidelines. The guidelines are there. If you're confused about what the guidelines are, I'm assuming you have a church calendar.
Yes.
If you get a calendar from your church, which comes from the archdiocese usually, it's got all of the fasting guidelines on it. It shows with a little symbol on the day what you're supposed to eat or not eat. It's right on there. Or you can Google it. I mean, you can go on the archdiocese website, or you can call your priest and he'll tell you. Don't ignore the guidelines, but make sure that you feel that you're doing something, that you feel like there's a self-denial, there's some self-sacrifice. And also make sure that it's not just about food. Make sure that it's an act of love. Make sure that when you're fasting, you're giving up something in the idea of being able to help people. The ultimate goal is love. The ultimate goal is that we're sharing the love of Christ and we're growing closer and closer to Christ, and we're doing that each and every day.
Amen.